The document Neil Smith is referring to is the Protocols for Effective Financial Management, which was signed on Monday, April 23rd by Premier and Minister for Finance Dr. Orlando Smith and the UK Minister for Overseas Territories Henry Bellingham. The agreement gives the UK a better idea of how government is managing the territory's finances while freeing the BVI from having to get approval from London for its budget. Walter Barrett has a look back at Monday's historic signing.
The BVI is on the road to financial recovery, and the signing of the Protocols for Effective Financial Management between the BVI government and the UK is evidence of that fact. Minister for the Overseas Territories Henry Bellingham called the BVI a huge success story, adding that the protocols demonstrate government's commitment to prudent fiscal management. The minister said the protocols would ensure finances are available for priorities, which would mean value for money for residents.
These demonstrate, as you rightly pointed out, the BVI government's commitment to prudent fiscal management and returning the finances, the public finances, to a sustainable footing. And I think this is going to be welcomed throughout the BVI and indeed internationally. What you have is a world-class financial services centre here. And if that can be complemented by fiscal management that is responsible and fit for purpose, but that is going to, I think, give the BVI even more credibility. So I welcome, Honourable Premier, your commitment to revising the Public Finance Management Act to make it more robust, and I also welcome your commitment to increase transparency and improve planning and risk management. Taken together, these steps will ensure that the BVI government will have the available means to focus resources on priorities and that value for money is obtained for the people of the BVI.
Commenting on the new document, which differs from the framework for fiscal responsibility previously presented to the BVI and signed on to by several other overseas territories, Premier and Minister for Finance Dr. The Honourable D. Orlando Smith said that the signing of the document signals the UK's renewed confidence in the BVI.
I believe that today, by the signature of this document, the Minister and Her Majesty's Government, which he represents, has demonstrated a renewed confidence in this territory. A new direction is being forced, ladies and gentlemen, a dramatic change. One that signals a departure from the old ways of partnership to the partnership that is based on mutual respect and the shared value of doing what is best in the best interest of our people. My colleagues and I have but one goal in advancing this partnership between the United Kingdom and the Virgin Islands. This goal proposes that each side will always consider the position of the other and that we will move ahead in one accord, recognizing that though we may have different circumstances, as a unit, we can build off of each other's strengths to form a mutually beneficial solution and destiny.
Minister Bellingham stated that any government that seeks to address its deficit commands respect, and he said Premier Smith is doing just that. JTV News spoke with Financial Secretary Neil Smith to get a clearer understanding of what the BVI's deficit is to date. He said the NDP government met a deficit of $50 million when they took office in November 2011. To date, that deficit has been reduced to between $20 and $30 million, according to Smith, and is expected to drop to around $10 million after the Finance Department has completed going through its figures. Smith explained that although government's debt stands at some $120 million, for a country whose projected revenue is close to $290 million, the debt is not severe. What Smith said raised a red flag with the UK government, with challenges affecting the territory's ability to turn its assets into cash, secure loans, and take on further commitments.
We have outstanding debt of about $112 million, and that in and of itself, for an economy of this size, a government of this size, with the revenues and expenditures of the sizes that they are, is not worrying. The reason why we ran into trouble with the UK government is that the liquidity, government's liquidity, is not that good. So they measured, we had the previous borrowing guidelines, I think you've heard us speak about those. And there were three things that they were looking at in that. And one of those things is the cash balances. Those cash balances went below the threshold. And because of that, we had to get approvals for any other loans, any other commitments that were placed on government, external commitments, I should say, And that really is a problem. The problem is not really the outstanding loans per se, because they're okay, right? But there's the liquidity was really, I don't want to say deplorable, but not in a good position.
Neil Smith went on to explain that the UK government decided that examining the debt and liquidity of overseas territories was not enough to determine whether or not these countries were engaging in prudent financial management practices, and it was then that the framework for financial responsibility was created. However, Premier Smith and his government refused to sign on to the document, as it would mean letting go of the autonomy the BVI currently has. The Financial Secretary explained that this government made amendments to the document that assured the BVI kept control of its own finances and at the same time ensured it offered the fiscal transparency, responsibility and management that the UK requires from its overseas territories.
We were able to modify substantially to our benefit, when I say all the Virgin Islands' benefit, while still maintaining those principles of medium-term planning and transparency, accountability, risk management. We are able to partner really and have, fairly good discussions with the United Kingdom to modify that initial document or change the initial document to one that is sensitive to the peculiarities of the Virgin Islands. And that is what was signed on Monday.
According to the Premier, he, along with his colleagues, have one goal in advancing the partnership between the UK and the Virgin Islands, which proposes that each side will always consider the position of the other, while moving ahead in one accord, recognizing that despite the different circumstances, as a unit, they can build off of each other's strengths to form a mutually beneficial solution and destiny. This is Walter Barrett for JTV News.